Can my employer delay my paycheck legally? Imagine this. Payday comes around, you check your account, and nothing's there. Your boss says, "We'll pay you next week," or "Payroll is running behind." You start to wonder, can my employer legally delay my paycheck? This situation happens more often than people think, especially in industries with hourly wages, seasonal work, or small businesses juggling cash flow. But workers have rights. Federal law and state laws set strict rules on when employees must be paid, and employers who delay paychecks can face serious penalties. In this video, we'll break it down step by step. We'll explain what the Fair Labor Standards Act, FLSA, requires, how state payday laws set specific deadlines, when delays cross into wage theft, what legal options workers have, and real examples where employers were held accountable. By the end, you'll know exactly when a delay is legal and when it's a violation of your rights. Federal law, the FLSA, and prompt payment. The Fair Labor Standards Act, FLSA, is the main federal wage law. It requires employers to pay workers at least minimum wage for all hours worked, plus overtime for hours over 40 per week. But here's the catch. The FLSA does not set a national payday schedule. Instead, it requires payment on the regular payday established by the employer. That means, if your employer says payday is every Friday, wages must be paid that Friday. If they promise the 1st and 15th of each month, wages must arrive on those days. Employers cannot arbitrarily delay pay just because without violating the FLSA requirement of prompt payment. Example: a construction company with bi-weekly paydays skips a cycle and says workers will get 2 weeks' pay later. That's a violation. The FLSA requires payment on the regular payday. State payday laws, strict deadlines. Most states go further by setting exact payday rules. These laws dictate not just frequency, but also what happens when employers delay payment. California requires at least semi-monthly pay and imposes penalties for late paychecks. Employees can recover waiting time penalties equal to a day's wages for each day payment is late, up to 30 days. New York requires weekly pay for manual workers unless an exemption is granted. Late payment can trigger wage claims. Texas requires at least monthly pay and allows workers to file complaints with the Texas Workforce Commission for delayed wages. Massachusetts treats late pay as wage theft, with triple damages possible under the Wage Act. Example: a retail worker in California is not paid on the scheduled Friday. Their employer pays the following Wednesday. That 4-day delay triggers waiting time penalties under state law. When delays become wage theft, delayed paychecks are more than an inconvenience. They can be classified as wage theft. Wage theft includes unpaid hours, denied overtime, off-the-clock work, and late pay. If the employer consistently delays wages, workers can file complaints with the U.S. Department of Labor, DOL, or state labor boards. Employers who intentionally delay pay may face fines, lawsuits, and even criminal charges in some states. Wage theft laws don't require proof of intent. Simply failing to pay on time is enough. Example: a restaurant delays employee pay for 2 weeks, claiming cash flow issues. Workers file a claim with the state labor board. The employer is ordered to pay back wages plus penalties. Final paychecks. Special rules. The timing of your last paycheck after quitting or being fired is especially important. Many states require final wages immediately or within a short window. California: if you're fired, final wages are due immediately. If you quit with 72 hours notice, they're also due immediately. Oregon requires final pay no later than the next business day if fired, or within 5 days if you quit. Texas requires final wages within 6 days of termination. Delaying a final paycheck is often a clear violation, and penalties can be steep. Example: a worker in Oregon is fired on a Tuesday. Their employer says the final paycheck will come with the next scheduled payday in 2 weeks. That's illegal. The check must be issued by Wednesday. Overtime and delay issues. Employers sometimes delay overtime pay separately, claiming processing takes longer. Bitte. That's not allowed. The FLSA requires overtime pay by the next regular payday after the work week when it was earned. Employers cannot hold overtime back until a future pay cycle. Example: a warehouse worker works 50 hours in week 1. Payday is Friday of week 2. The employer says overtime will be paid in week 3. That violates the FLSA. All wages, including overtime, must be included in the next regular payday. Exceptions: when delay may be legal. There are a few situations where short delays may not violate the law. Banking or technical errors. If payroll was submitted on time but a bank error delays deposits, the employer must correct it quickly but may not be penalized if it's rare. New employees. Some states allow employers to withhold the first paycheck until the end of the initial pay cycle, as long as the schedule was disclosed at hire. Some federal contracts. In rare cases, government contract rules may create slight differences in payment timing, but generally, cash flow problems or clerical mistakes are not valid excuses for repeated delays. Retaliation is illegal. Workers who complain about late pay are protected from retaliation under both federal and state laws. Employers cannot cut hours, fire, or threaten workers for filing wage complaints. Retaliation claims can result in separate penalties on top of the wage claim itself. Example: an employee files a wage complaint after multiple delayed paychecks. Their boss cuts their schedule in half. That's retaliation, and it may lead to additional damages under labor law. Real-world cases. Case 1. In California, a construction company failed to pay workers for weeks. The state imposed waiting time penalties and ordered full back pay. Case 2. A restaurant in Massachusetts delayed final paychecks. Workers sued under the Wage Act and recovered triple damages. Case 3. A retail chain in New York faced DOL action for paying manual workers monthly instead of weekly. Back pay and penalties followed. Case 4. In Texas, workers filed with the Workforce Commission after consistent paycheck delays. The employer was ordered to pay wages plus interest. These cases show that wage delays are taken seriously by regulators and courts. What workers can do. If your paycheck is delayed, here are steps you can take. 1. Check your state law. Find out payday frequency rules and final paycheck deadlines. 2. Document everything. Keep pay stubs, schedules, and bank deposit records. 3. Ask HR or payroll first. Sometimes errors are clerical and easily fixed. 4. File a complaint. Contact your state labor agency or the US DOL. 5. Consider legal action. Many states allow lawsuits for unpaid or late wages, with damages and attorney's fees. 6. Protect against retaliation. Know that it's illegal for employers to punish you for asserting wage rights. Example: a hotel worker in California didn't receive pay on time 3 pay periods in a row. She filed with the California Labor Commissioner and recovered full wages plus waiting time penalties. The bigger picture. On-time pay is more than convenience. It's the law. Workers budget rent, groceries, and bills around payday. Delays create financial strain, overdraft fees, and lost trust. That's why both federal and state laws treat delayed wages as a serious violation. While the FLSA sets broad rules, state payday laws fill the gaps. In almost every case, an employer cannot legally delay your paycheck beyond the regular payday. If it happens, you have tools: state labor boards, the DOL, and in some cases, the courts. So, can your employer legally delay your paycheck? In almost all cases, no. The FLSA requires prompt payment on the regular payday, and state laws often add stricter rules. Delaying wages can be treated as wage theft, with penalties ranging from fines to triple damages. Final paychecks come with even stricter deadlines in many states. The bottom line, payday isn't optional. Employers can't use cash flow problems or mistakes as excuses to hold back wages. If your paycheck is late, document it, know your rights, and don't be afraid to file a claim. If this video helped clarify things, share it with coworkers. Because the more workers know about payday protections, the harder it is for employers to get away with delays.